Begin transmission. Hello, everybody. It is Outer Rim Transmission, episode 206. I'm here joined by the full crew, Milton and Ben. It feels like it's 2014 all over again, everybody, because we are actually getting a cast list for I would say the next Star Wars movie, but the one after The Mandalorian Grogu, which is Sean Levy's Star Wars Starfighter. So we're going to be diving in tonight for the cast members that have been confirmed, because there's a lot of new ones we didn't even hear about. So a lot of good stuff, speculating, just talking about if we know these people or not, or if we're going in fully blind. We're going to get into that and some interesting things that Ewan McGregor said at a recent comic convention. So all that and more on Outer Rim Transmission. How's it going, Ben?
Good. Just like I was telling you guys before the call, getting ready to move. So you guys will be seeing a new podcasting background on the next episode. So stay tuned for that. And then other than that, just been, getting excited about Star Wars. It's nice having Star Wars movie news to talk about versus being like, yep, another Star Wars movie canceled or delayed or whatever. It's like, this is nice. We're getting good news finally. It's a big relief because, like, anytime you see Star Wars movie news, I always like cringe at first because I'm scared to continue reading because I'm worried it's going to say like delayed or canceled or whatever. So it's nice that this was actual good news that we're going to talk about tonight. So yeah, so that was really refreshing. And then other than that, it's just been typical couple weeks really, with fitness and family time, and the obviously Star Wars is included in all of our lives, like always, just finding good Star Wars things. Like for me, my week in Star Wars was just simple. It was just, it's always great seeing like the funny Star Wars Instagram reels and everything's like I sent Milton one the other day. I was cracking up about it. Was like at the top it said, choose to date Sydney Sweeney or fight Kathleen Kennedy in a lightsaber battle for control of Lucasfilm. And it, at the bottom it was like me, and then it showed Obi-Wan and Anakin fighting on Mustafar. So it it's always great seeing those funny Instagram reels and TikToks and stuff. But that was my week in Star Wars. Just a basic, always fun seeing those fun social media posts like that.
Right.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think Star Wars is in all of our lives, right? We're talking about that's why we open every week saying, "Oh, what's going on? What's going on?" So yeah, we'll definitely touch the movie news and all that sort of stuff because that is exciting.
Oh yeah, I do want to point out though, one thing, on a non-Instagram real note, I want to give a shout out to one of my other Star Wars YouTube friends. Commander Jesse is his YouTube channel name, and he actually, I don't remember the name of the gentleman, but he actually had a guy on there as a guest last night. He talked to him for about an hour and a half on his channel, and I was listening to it, and it was a whole discussion about the guy's experiences working on Star Wars, because he actually has been working with Lucasfilm for the past 10 years, and he's just part of the like the little people. He's the boots on the ground. He helps put the sets together. Like he doesn't do any designing them. He like is part of the physical labor, and he's been working at Lucasfilm since he was 22 as just a, set building hand basically.
Wow.
And he was on there talking about his experiences and everything, and he was saying how it was so crazy, like he through that, like the only reason he got that job, actually, it was really interesting hearing, was because he at first like bumped into one of the producers somewhere out in Hollywood, and he was like, "Hey, I will literally do anything for you guys. If you guys hire me, I'll clean toilets as a janitor if I have to, like just I want to work at Lucasfilm." So the guy took his resume, and he thought he would never hear from him again. He got a call back to come and like basically be an assistant. And what he was doing was he was like getting coffee for a lot of people, food, just scheduling crap. And then like one day, like someone asked him, was like, "Hey, you're kind of like a bigger looking guy. Can you come and help move some stuff around on the sets and whatnot?" And he's like, "Sure." So he went in there, helped with that, and they were like, "Oh, wow, you did a really good job, yada, yada." So then they started asking him to come back, and then he got hired full time as a manual labor basically for Lucasfilm, and he's been doing it for the past 10 years. So it was really cool, like listening to his experiences, because it's coming from someone who's not in the spotlight of Star Wars at all. So I really liked listening to that. And yeah, my friend's name is Commander Jesse. That's his YouTube channel. He's
Yeah,
friends with Hannah and all those people.
yeah, I know. That's something I also think about it back of my head. Like if I did run across somebody, I'd be like, yeah, I'll do anything for you guys. Get me in the door.
Yep.
Get you. And that's what happens. You get your foot in the door, and you do well with what you do with what you're given, and you excel. And next thing you know, you're doing something even better. So,
Yeah.
it's all about
Hey,
that
well,
network. It's all about who you never know, who we're gonna run into, all that stuff.
yeah. The craziest story he had on there was he actually back during the sequels he met Harrison Ford actually
Mm.
because he was saying so he was just it was just one of those days putting a set together, and he said Harrison was kind of just like working out on set and just kind of like being around, and he said hey, and like you said, we all view Harrison as this like grumpy guy, and he said Harrison like joked to him and was like, hey kid, you want to go grab lunch in a little bit with me, and he said he was like looking around, he thought Harrison was talking to someone else, and he just didn't say anything at first, and Harrison like pointed at him and said, you like, do you want to go grab lunch? And he was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll go have lunch with Harrison Ford.
Oh
And they
my
went and had lunch
gosh.
in the cafeteria, and he said he was like about freaking out, because he was like, at the time he was 25, 26, 27 years old or whatever at the time. So, and it's cool
Dang.
hearing those stories like that.
My gosh. Yeah, that is cool. The unsung heroes, right? We talk about we're talking tonight about the primary cast, the people we're seeing acting, but what does it
Yep.
actually take all the hundreds, if not thousands of people to actually get the movies together? You know what I mean? There's so much that goes into it. Milton, I know it's been a while since we've talked. How are things going on your end?
Pretty good. Busy, as you know. Being a married man has a lot of responsibilities, like selling my house, which that officially sold this past Friday.
Hmm.
Um,
Congrats.
yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, and also just figuring out things when it comes to like building a life, but that doesn't mean that I don't have time for Star Wars. Let's make that very clear. And so honestly, my week in Star Wars probably stems back a couple weeks ago. As I told you, I've been playing Star Wars Fallen Order and or Jedi Fallen Order. Yes, love that game. You guys
Yep.
are right. I really do enjoy it. I think it's one of the better games out there when it comes to Star Wars products.
Wow.
I love the story. I love the story thus far. I'm excited to see where this game's going to go as I continue to push forward. I think I'm probably about a good 34, 35, 40% into it so far, like in the sense of where I'm at with the story. Very, very impressed with it. Can't complain about it. I really enjoy it every time I am playing on the PS5.
What planet are you on? Because I've played the game so many times that I actually can pretty much tell exactly where you are in the game.
Um, I just completed the temple with all the puzzles and stuff, where he's
Oh,
like moving the fears.
Zepho?
Yeah, that might have been it because I have to go like
Mm-hmm.
either to Dathomir at this
Yep.
point, or go
Oh,
back to another planet. Yeah, so I'm like still like in the beginning of the game where I'm still like my powers are getting pretty good, but I haven't. I fought the one sister like once already.
mm,
So yeah, it's solid. And you found out that it was like the second sister or something is the apprentice of the
yep.
guy or the lady you're traveling with. So yeah,
Yeah,
you find that out.
Sargenta. Yep.
Yep, yep.
That's what's so
So
great about the game.
yeah, I really enjoy it. I love the story thus far. I'm excited for how it's going to play out. Like I know the story itself, but playing it in real time and not really understanding the nuance of the game, it's very impressive. I can't wait for the second one, which I do have the second one just sitting on the shelf, ready to go. And I think I'll be excited for whenever they do a part three. I assume they're going to do a part
Oh
three,
yeah.
because how this game is playing and how the second one was received. I am thoroughly impressed, and I'm like, super excited for where this is going to go.
Yeah, I would recommend going to Kashyyyk before you go to Dathomir because
Oh
Dathomir.
yeah, okay. So I did Kashyyyk. That's what it was. I
Oh,
did
okay.
do Kashyyyk. Yeah, I've completed that, and then I think I have to go to Dathomir at this point.
Ooh, Dathomir. Dathomir is so cool in that game, but it's also brutally hard. The
Right.
enemies there are just crazy tough. That's why I'm always like, if you get a choice, like level up first, get some more abilities and get some more stim
Yeah.
packs. You know, try to get as many stim packs as you can.
Right. So I think I'm getting good at like figuring those puzzles out because low key I've been going back and trying to do that. So I think it's going to be very helpful that I'm at the point where I feel confident in walking through a level, and I'm good about the attacks and encounters and whatnot. I think as I start leveling up against like tougher opponents, that's where it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things I liked about that game is like the different enemies, like the purge troopers are pretty cool because it's like the way they do the combat in that game is just so. It's like the best Jedi combat ever made. It's the way they actually have the parry system, and you feel like you're actually dueling, especially when you're fighting like the second
Right.
sister and ninth sister and all these different characters. It really does
Right.
feel like, wow, this is kinetic. This is just like the
Yes.
movies. Like, damn.
Well, and what's nice is like they start figuring you out. Like you can't just
Mm-hmm.
go in with the same attack. And so I
Mm-hmm.
do appreciate where I have to try to counter them and really work through that. So I really do appreciate how they challenge you. And you're right. I'm a huge Force Unleashed fan. Love that first game for sure. Second one, yeah, that kind of fell off slightly. That's due to internal things in Lucasfilm at the time. But the combat was great then, but this is way better. It definitely took that combat and elevated it to where we are now with the next gen.
Yeah, yeah, and it looks beautiful. That's what's so good about Jedi
Oh
Fallen
yeah,
Order. Is like every aspect of that game is great. You got the environments, you got the combat, and you have the story, which is really good because like each character is so richly detailed with like their
right.
backstory and their character arcs through that game, through the second game. It's up there with Rogue One and Mandalorian as like the best, and Andor for me as like one of the best like Star Wars in the last decade of Disney. Like it's up there with Rogue
I
One, with
agree.
Andor,
No,
with
it's
Mando. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, story wise, like I said, I can't really complain. I am truly blown away about how it ties in well, I think, into what canon is and currently what is going to be going forward, down the road. But
Hmm.
I'm impressed. Like, I really enjoy what I've been playing thus far.
All right. Yeah, we'll keep up with the updates as we move along with your playthrough through the game. So yeah, getting I mean for me, okay. So for me, this is a story I've. This is gonna sound like a similar story that I've had before, probably because another one of these things where I'm in the break room at work. There's a new employee, a new coworker of mine that had a BB-8 notebook and he was scribbling down workouts for one of his clients, I assume. I said, "Oh, we got another Star Wars fan in the house here, huh?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I'm very big." So I was like, "Oh, I could talk your ear off about the franchise, you know." And then next thing you know, we proceed because we both had like an hour break to talk, sit down and talk for an hour about Star Wars like it was nothing. And I've
That's
talked
great.
to this new employee a few times. He's been there for about 2 weeks, but it was funny because it's like he's been involved with the fandom. Apparently, his wife is a huge Ahsoka fan. Has like some kind of tattoo. They met her, Ashley Eckstein, at New York Comic Con. All this kind of stuff. So we were talking about everything from our misgivings about the acolyte to Rise of Skywalker just completely just destroying the sequel trilogy in our eyes, and everything in
Yeah,
between with Bad Batch. Like I feel like in that hour time we talked about so many topics of Star Wars with directors, with Lucasfilm not knowing what to do, with all these sort of things. The next thing you know, we're like looking up like, oh, we have to get back to work. Okay. It's like
That's
it's
funny.
just an example of there you go. You meet somebody, you recognize that they might be a fan, and next thing you know, you guys are deep diving into like some really deep nerd stuff, you know. So that
right.
was a good time. So yeah, we'll
Yeah,
be
no, that's funny.
continuing to talk here and there as we go along at work there.
Yeah, no, like that's why I posted the one reel the other day on Instagram where it was like me at at a Thanksgiving or a holiday drunk. but I start talking about like, Star Wars and like a real
Oh yeah,
nerdy way.
that
Like,
one was amazing.
yeah, it's because it's true. That's what happens. Like me and my brother, when we're together, like we'll be like acting a fool, just talking Star Wars, when we're like a little bit tipsy. And but my boys do that. Like we'll literally go from sports to talking about our families, and then the Star Wars, and then the whatever. And it's like, yeah, and we have full blown arguments and conversations. Like till this day, my one buddy Chris, he's a Last Jedi apologist, I would say. He knows I don't like that movie, and every time I bring it up, he's like, Milton, you got to get over it. And it turns into like, are you effing kidding me? For a good 10 to 15-minute conversation about why that movie is horrific. But
That's
it is
great.
what it is.
That was the thing, right? We got on the Last Jedi. And he happened to really like the Last Jedi. And I was like, I always tell people like, yeah, I lost sleep because of the Last Jedi that night I seen it.
Yeah.
I was like rolling in bed, going, "What happened to Luke Skywalker? What the hell?"
Yep.
Till this day, I can never fully sit through it. Seriously. I struggle to sit through that movie.
Yeah. There's so much with that movie. We
Yeah.
could have
But
a
again,
full blown 12-hour podcast on that movie.
right. Yeah. So,
Oh. Okay. Yeah, so that was fun. That was fun. Other than that, staying the course. I've been watching, like, whenever I sit down and have like lunch on the weekends, I'll pop on like another episode of like Bad Batch or something, because like I was telling you, Ben, I was like, I finished that Bad Batch novel and I was like, I gotta watch Bad Batch again. So that's kind of on the background, sort of background noise and whatnot, as I just want to listen or watch something as I'm doing something else. So that's always a good time. Always a good time. Always a good time with the
oh
action, with
yeah.
the music. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right, we're going to get into the show proper. Before we do, we are available to have in your ears through audio. Just search Outer Rim Transmission, Spotify, Apple Music, and more. We're available there. And we also do this show live on YouTube. You could just follow us here, youtube.com/StarRaptor. Please subscribe, hit that bell icon so you'll be notified when we go live. Out this week, we have Hyperspace Stories, Codebreaker number 3. We also have Dr. Aphra, Chaos Agent number 3. Me and Matthew Neugebauer over on the Star Wars Underworld YouTube channel broke both of those comics down in much detail, as we often do, over on the Tractor Beam Show, which goes live every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, and we have a new episode coming out this upcoming Wednesday, so please join us and sound off in the comment section below, just like you could do right here on our actual video on youtube.com/StarRaptor. So we're getting some very interesting quotes from Ewan McGregor. And this actually is funny. I mentioned my co-host, Matthew Neugebauer, over on Tractor Beam. This comes to us from him. He's our source on this story. So he was, as many other people in that room were, because we have Ewan McGregor doing a panel at Fan Expo Canada, which is in Toronto. It's like the biggest convention in Toronto, in Canada, and according to him, it's like the third largest convention in North America after New York Comic Con and San Diego Comic Con. I definitely want to go there because there's like Nintendo has a booth, there's huge actors and everything. So one of these days I will head there. It's not that far from here, really. It's like an hour and a half plane ride or something like that. But anyways, let's get to it. So somewhere along the lines, Ewan McGregor had been asked something about the Clone Wars or something. And this is literally what he says. He says, "I'm going to watch every episode of the Clone Wars. That's my homework." So that got me
Nice.
thinking, like, homework, you say, huh? Why would somebody say it expressly like that? I mean, like, we got a rumor like a week before this, or 3 weeks ago, from Fan Expo Boston, where somebody got a report like misconstrued with the wording, and somebody thought that Ewan said, "Yes, I am in Ahsoka season 2" or something like that. This just adds more fuel to the fire. Even before that, there was rumors going around that he was going to appear in a flashback with his armor from the Clone Wars. There's all this stuff that just keeps adding and piling up. It's just a matter of time. They won't acknowledge it. Lucasfilm won't acknowledge it until it's like on the screen in our living rooms. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out to you guys. Like, what do you think about this with Ewan McGregor watching the Clone Wars? I'll throw it over to Ben.
I mean, I'll just I mean, all right, I'll just word it like this. So, I mean, we all know Ewan loves Star Wars and everything and yada yada yada. But he doesn't to me come off like a David Corn sweat, like a super nerd in the weeds like we are. So, why would a actor who's presumably busy, who's I don't know, 50 years old or so now or close to 50, why would he be doing homework on an animated series that's been done for years now? So like he has a reason, he has a motive for that. And to me, that just adds up to him being involved with Ahsoka. Like it has to be. And also, I I think just to really hammer that point home, with all the Mortis stuff we've seen with the statues, with I mean Hayden coming back, with just all the implications of Mortis for the second season of Ahsoka, I just feel like you can't do a potential Mortis thing without Ewan because we all got to remember we're all hardcore Star Wars fans here. So
Right.
He's probably watching the Mortis arc to get an idea of how the character acted and moved and talked to Anakin and Ahsoka and the Mortis gods in the Mortis arc. Because I mean, I'm sure you might get where I'm coming from on this, Milton. Like, I think with this, Dave is going to have to do like I don't know, 5 minute flashback, 5-10 minute flashback to Mortis to give the general audience who hasn't ever seen Clone Wars a quick catch up session basically in the show. And I think that's what Ewan's going to be doing.
I agree with that. I think, one, it's great that he's potentially hinting that he's doing um, Ahsoka, right? So that should tell you that they have plans for flashbacks and Hayden and him being together. He wouldn't say this just because. I mean, look, we know at these conventions people are excited. They're excited to be around the fans. The fans drive this IP. Why would he even say that? Or
Yeah.
why did he even answer that? You know what I'm saying? He didn't have to answer that. All he had to do was say, well, blah blah blah. I'm just doing
He's
this,
a veteran
whatever.
at this
He's
too.
exactly like he's been doing this for a while. He's, as they say in sports, you're a KG vet. Like you know what you're talking about. So like, why does he have to say it? We know he's going to be in Ahsoka. We know they're going to feature him. Look at that show from when it was out. The highlight of that series was anytime Hayden was on the screen, anytime, well, hell, when they showed the Clone Wars flashback and how good he looked just like the counterpart from the animation. And we're like, oh my God. And everyone kept clamoring. We all said it here. I want like a 2 season series of Hayden and those guys in the Clone Wars live action. Like, could you imagine what that would look like now? Bringing Ewan McGregor, who he was the best part of the Obi-Wan show, even though it wasn't universally loved. He's still the best part. Imagine now bringing him in the fold with the love that Hayden's getting. Come on, I mean, it just makes sense. So to me, it's no brainer. I love it. Give me more of it. This is what Star Wars is all about. This is what the fans want. I'm here for it.
Yeah, unless, out of left field, Lucasfilm just goes ahead and greenlights Obi-Wan Kenobi season 2.
Which,
Yeah.
which the rumor is. I mean, I'm hearing the rumors too and seeing everything online, which I'm not
Really?
opposed to that either. I
I
mean,
didn't hear any
I've
rumors. I just
read
threw this out of my
Liam.
hat.
Yeah, Liam
I,
Neeson got asked about it.
yes, I've read about that. I've saw some stuff like on Twitter, not from Ewan himself, but like news outlets that's reported because of things are being done behind the scenes. I'll be fine with that. I think there's ways to take season two, but again, to focus on Ahsoka, why not bring him in? Why just put him in the show? It makes sense. Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, and Anakin all were close during that time. In a lot of ways, and look at the quote from Darth Maul when he says, "You have Obi-Wan's arrogance or whatever," and she's like, "Yeah, I fight like my master though too." Obi-Wan was a big influence of Ahsoka. Let's be real here. Like
Yep.
he was just as influential as Anakin was on that character. It makes sense to bring him in.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Influenced for sure, for sure. So, yeah, I mean, there could be a reason. There could be a reason. I mean, Obi-Wan season two. Like, well, we don't know what the hell is happening after Ahsoka season two. Like, there's nothing out there. What's to say they don't go back to season two of Obi-Wan?
Right.
That could be a possibility. They're looking for stuff to do. It's like, well, Ewan could just easily do this at any moment. So let's just get him back real quick. We'll do another 6 episodes or 8 episodes. Who knows? I don't know.
I mean, I guess if you guys view it that way, the thing is, like, sure, Obi-Wan turned out to be what it was. On the other hand, if they would do a second season, and let's say if they would take it from, I guess being kind, I would say the first season was like a C minus. Say if they take it
Yeah.
from a C minus to a B plus range, if they would do that, they would have something huge on their hands because we got to remember Obi-Wan was like the most viewed. It like blew everything out of the water for viewership that year for like the Star Wars properties and things. So it's like the viewership was there. Like I think it still stands their biggest premiere on for Star Wars shows. So it's like it's there. The interest is there in the character. It's just you got to have a good story at the end of the day. And if they do that, I think the fans will come. They'll be excited. I mean, people love Ewan, and you know
Yeah.
who knows? Maybe they just double dip and they say he's in Ahsoka season 2, and we're getting Kenobi season 2.
Yeah, there you go.
And look, here's the thing. And I know a lot of these companies now are hesitant when they cancel a show and they don't want to bring it back and all that jazz. What's foolish is that there's precedent also of shows being canceled, but also being re-renewed with different teams and writers to re-energize it. I mean, one of the most successful animations of all time in comedies is Family Guy. People forget that was canceled after like 2 or 3 seasons,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden they bring it back with the same group, but then what's the name decided to split the teams up to do American Dad, and that thing blew up because they took different direction, different leadership, and
Yeah.
like Seth MacFarlane knew we need to do this way. If Disney Lucasfilm said, "Hey, this is a great character," I mean, people we always revisit Batman every 3 or 4 years.
True.
Superman gets revisited every 3 to 4 years. Like Superman has not been in the greatest spotlight since this past summer. Prior to that, we kept doing it, even though there was failures. Now they're doing it right. So I think with Star Wars, you bring in the right guys to do Obi-Wan's character justice, it will re-blow up again because it's a loved character that everyone respects. Our grandparents knows who Obi-Wan Kenobi is. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can get people feeling that way, say, hey, like, I know that character no matter who he is, I'm going to be all about that. Just bring in a team of people that know the character, know how to write him, and know how to infuse him into Star Wars moving forward. Tell his story about, hey, this is what he's all about. Like, it's all you need.
Yep. I'll throw this out there into the ether for you, Milton. How about this? Say you get a solid team on that show and let Bryce Dallas Howard lead the ship for it.
I'm cool with that. Like,
Yeah.
who? Like, yeah.
I think she needs a show, and I feel like Obi-Wan would be a good one just because of like her influence with Dave and I don't know. I really think Obi-Wan has potential because, like you mentioned, Chris, the thing is with this character, as well as even Ahsoka season 2, just to get back even to our Ahsoka season 2 topic. Realistically, I mean, actually, it's not even realistically. We don't have any shows on the docket for Disney Plus that are live action. We have the Darth Maul show, which is whatever, which is fine, but we don't have any live action Star Wars on the docket. So like there has to be something in the pipeline.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's it. Unless it's Disney Plus is over. That's it. There's just gonna be a place
Yeah.
for all reruns and animation.
It might be. I mean, genuinely, it might be.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine that? Oh, what a pivot that would be.
Yeah.
No, there should always be one live action show going on a year. That should be good, but not 6 episodes. Like let it be at least like 12, like Andor or something, and stretch it
Yes.
out. Don't do like 4 episode chunks. Like try to eat up that time. Give us podcasters something to talk about every week. We want to
For real.
digest this stuff. All right. Speaking of something to talk about this week, I mean, we have megaton news that came into us from StarWars.com headquarters itself. I'm going to read this verbatim right from. Okay, you guys can still hear me, right? Because I'm getting an
Right.
error on my end on YouTube.
Yep, we can
Okay,
hear you.
I think
I hear you.
we're still good here. Okay. Going into it, we have Lucasfilm announces casting for Star Wars Starfighter. I'm going to read this verbatim, at least some of it from our website here. Today, to mark the start of production on Star Wars Starfighter, Lucasfilm has announced the full cast for the upcoming feature film from Sean Levy. Joining him, previously announced Ryan Gosling. The film stars Flynn Gray, Matt Smith, Mia Goth, Aaron Pierre, Simon Bird, Jamel Westman, Daniel Ings, and Amy Adams. Star Wars Starfighter is an all-new standalone adventure. The film, which has begun production, is an entirely original story set in a period of time never before explored in Star Wars. Starfighter will be released theatrically May 28th, 2027. It's directed by Sean Levy. The film is produced by Levy and Kathleen Kennedy. Executive producers are Ryan Gosling, Dan Levine, Mary McLagan, and Josh McLagan. And the script is by Jonathan Tropper. And we have a nice image here. This is them in costume. This is Ryan Gosling, Flynn Gray on set for Star Wars Starfighter. I'll change over to the image here on the YouTube channel. And yeah, first thoughts, Milton. What are your thoughts on this news out of the blue for Star Wars Starfighter, knowing the cast now?
I'm intrigued. I think that's probably the word for it. I mean, I think Ryan Gosling himself, great actor. I love everything he does. I think low key, he's going to be. I think he can be our generation of Harrison Ford within this property. I say that because, excuse me, I say that because he's a very rigid and rugged type actor. Yes, he's a beautiful man. I mean, he's one of the most beautiful men on the planet. But what I'm saying is he has the ability to really be gritty with how he can portray a character. We've seen that. And so I think how they portray him in this movie is going to be very telling. I think we'll get that version of him. Um, I'm excited for Ryan Gosling as as the lead in this movie. As for the other actors, Amy Adams is probably surprising because I never saw her as someone that would be into space and fantasy. But I believe wasn't she in a Christopher Nolan movie? Was she in Inception?
Well, she was in Inception, but she was also Lois from Man of Steel.
Oh yeah. I mean, and when I say fantasy, I'm thinking more like space.
Oh yeah,
That type of stuff.
I think she was in Inception. She was also in the Nolan. I think didn't Nolan direct the Fighter? Because I think she was in Christian Bale's the
Yes,
Fighter movie as well.
she's in the fighter. So if they make the movie like gritty, not grounded per se, obviously, but gritty to where this would be a lived in Star Wars, all that type of jazz. I think it could work. You know what I'm saying? I think it'd be curious to see how she portrays her character and where they're going to take her. All the other ones, I really don't have much of an opinion. I think Sean Levy, we have to trust him thus far. I mean, he's done a good job with all the films that he's done in the past, and so I think we have to at least give it a shot. I'm intrigued. I wouldn't say excited. I would say more intrigued.
Yeah, for me, I think Ben, you said this already at the beginning of the episode, is the idea that I'm just happy to know that Star Wars is back. Essentially,
Yeah.
like you said, dude, like going back to all these negative news stories. This got canceled. Oh, they're changing the Red on the Ray movie for the upteenth time. Like all this stuff is just bad news. And we've been saying it here. People have been saying it everywhere. Can't trust that a Star Wars movie is being made until cameras are rolling. And this article
Yep.
literally says cameras are rolling. I mean, we are looking
Right.
right now, if you're watching a YouTube video, a still of Ryan Gosling, and what we think from the rumors that's going to be his nephew or something. Like, I think it's an uncle nephew situation.
That's what it sounds like.
Protecting him from some ne'er do wells. So yeah, it's as good as it gets. Like this is as good as it gets. They're not going to cancel this movie in the middle of production. The closest they've ever done that with is Solo Star Wars Story, but they made it just get Ron Howard in to just finish it off. So we know that's been done before. So we know we're getting another Star Wars movie back to back, Mandalorian in 2026. This is firmly dated for May of 2027, a year after Mando. So we are back again. It feels like it's 2014. My next thing here is, wow, this is the biggest, most prolific, talented, like well-known cast we've ever seen for a Star Wars movie. This is insane. And we thought it was crazy enough to have Matt Smith and Ryan Gosling, and then they drop Amy Adams in there. It's like, oh my gosh, this is high tier acting. So they got that locked down. Now it's up to the script and the directing to carry it through. So that the acting is going to be phenomenal. It's just like, let's hope everything else falls into place, right, Ben?
Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, my big thing with this whole cast announcement and everything, like Ryan Gosling is a great star, Amy Adams is a great star, one of the best actresses in the business. But to me, you know, obviously, Chris, I'm sure with you, with us being such big Game of Thrones fans, my eyes gravitate immediately to Matt Smith's name on that casting list because when Matt Smith's on screen, like he's on screen, like he's the person taking up the oxygen in the room and stuff. And I think his character, I mean, it could be kind of biased because of like us seeing him in Game of Thrones being kind of like an anti-hero-esque character. I could definitely see him being a really good villain for the Star Wars universe. And like, we all know all the chatter from back in the day of how he was going to be like the young Palpatine clone for Rise of Skywalker and stuff. So like, you have that, and now he's actually going to be in Star Wars where it's like, all right, like, is he going to actually be a villain for this movie? But, then again, maybe not. Like, he could be a good kind of in between, like you said, Milton, maybe Ryan Gosling could be our Harrison Ford type actor for Star Wars. Maybe Gosling could be kind of like our lead, like Luke-esque character. And I could see Matt Smith being kind of like the anti-hero Harrison Ford, or even the Lando character of, this type of movie.
That's a good point. I mean, because Matt Smith, I do remember the whole Palpatine discussion, and I think we all were rooting for a young Palpatine. I mean, that should have happened. Let's be real, it should have happened. But like, you're right. When he's on screen, he commands attention. That's truly. I wouldn't say he's a Hollywood superstar. I would say he has great charisma.
Mm-hmm.
He just draws you in. He's a great storyteller on camera. You really are wondering, what is he going to do when he's on camera? So I really do appreciate that about Matt Smith. I think that's a really interesting take of him being casted because, again, everything he does well. Like, I've never looked at Matt Smith and said, "Oh, that performance was bullshit." I never thought that. So I think he's going. I think he's going to kill this role.
Yeah, even on. Did you see him in Morbius, by the way, Milton?
I did. For one, that movie was god awful.
Yeah.
But two, it was bad. It was bad. I sat through it. It was bad, but he really did a good job because you believe that he was this character that was decrepit.
Yeah.
Not decrepit, but like, just down in the dumps, physically was not able to do it. But he made you believe it. And you knew they were going to switch it up. But it was perfect how he just portrayed the character.
Yeah. and I know Matt Smith, as I said before, first of all, when it was heavily rumored he would be. And I was like, I know him first from Doctor Who as the 11th Doctor, getting recontextualized for the first time, eating fish sticks and ice cream. That's the first thing we see him on screen doing. It's the first introduction of me to the actor of Matt Smith. Was as the British people call it, fish fingers and custard. Us Americans call it fish sticks and ice cream. So that will be forever my first memory of him. But yeah, I've seen him live. Oh my gosh! Actually, he was at there was a House of Dragon panel last year. I think it was on Sunday, New York Comic Con, gosh, Matt Smith is just freaking hilarious. Like he is just such a seems like such a down to earth dude. But I'm looking forward to him, as the rumors said, him as a villain, just chewing up the scenery. Is he gonna be a like a kind of more of like a oh gosh, the Skeleton Crew kind of villain that we've seen. What's his
Oh,
name play? Like
Jude Law.
yeah, like Jude Law, like a Jude Law kind of character where he's like more of just like a smuggler scoundrel kind of guy, or will he be more of an officer kind of dude, or is it going to be like maybe even a force user or something of that degree? I'm very curious to see. I'm sure he'll do well no matter what he plays, but yeah, I'm looking to. He's a lot of the time he is a hero, even though in House of Dragon he could sometimes be considered definitely more of an adversary at certain points. So he does have versatility as an actor to be able to kind of be more ambiguous with what he actually wants, the way he acts, which is going to be really good for Star Wars, I think.
Oh yeah. And I think one thing, I'm not sure if you've seen House of the Dragon yet, Milton, but like,
Nope.
one of the best parts with him from that show too, like of course his acting presence, like he definitely has like the physicality, like the fighting physicality for like this sort of thing. Like in House of the
Hmm.
Dragon, he has some good fight scenes, and you can tell he really puts like that physicality to the role, which is nice because that just kind of harkens back to like the prequels when the actors were really getting into it, or the original trilogy and so forth. So I think he's going to be a really nice fit for this movie.
Mhm.
Oh
Good.
yeah, oh yeah. Let's go through the cast. I want to talk about some of the lesser known casts here.
Yep.
So first of all, it looks like this could be our leading actor as well. The actor of Flynn Gray, featured in various projects and a lot just 3 years ago. Um, let's see, I'm reading for this article off of Volk.com, which has given us a nice little rundown of the actors and their appearances in other projects. So apparently this kid is in something called Borland, but the most important thing I think is Wednesday. Apparently he's in an episode of Wednesday, which is really hot off its second season happening
Mm.
right now on Netflix. Sherlock and Daughter and Going Dutch. Uh, yeah, so pretty much a relatively unknown actor for the most part. Very young kid. Um, will he have
I
a
like
future
that
in
though.
Star Wars? Yeah, I mean, like when you get like Lucasfilm going after an actor so young, does that mean like this could be leading to something else? Like maybe he'll come back in something else. The future it could be bright for him to maybe be in future Star Wars movies because we know we have the trilogy that is being developed by Simon Kinberg. So there's a lot of potential for it. Like, okay, this is a spin-off, yes, but that doesn't necessarily mean it can't be connected. It is the Star Wars galaxy after all. So
Oh yeah. I think a lot of these young actors have potential long term for that trilogy, potentially the Daisy movie, etc. Um, I've said it before. I genuinely think this movie, even though they're angling it as kind of like its own thing, I think it is going to be kind of the stepping stone into, the next era of Star Wars with, these characters like crossing over. Because you know how it is, guys. If this movie comes out as a big hit, what are they going to do? They're going to take the actors and poach them and put them in other Star Wars projects like
Right.
the trilogy, like if one of these actors has force potential, for example, then yeah, Simon Kinberg will say, oh, people really like this character from Starfighter. Let me write them into my Daisy Ridley New Jedi Order trilogy or whatever. Like, they're gonna incorporate them in the future projects. It just matters if it hits, and it's kind of like Skeleton Crew, where it's kind of isolated enough potentially, where if it doesn't hit, then they can just keep it moving. So it's they're
Right.
in a nice spot with the character flexibility.
oh yeah,
That's
oh yeah.
definitely that's definitely a good point. I do agree with that.
Getting into yeah, we talked about Amy Adams. We talked about Matt Smith. Next up is an actress we talked about before, but I'll mention it again. Mia Goth joins Matt Smith. The villain side. She's been around since 2013. And upcoming roles like the new Frankenstein movie, which is coming very very soon, and as well as Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. So this girl is gonna be really, really jumping to fame real quick here between those two movies and a Star Wars movie. I know she's been involved with. We talked about her being involved with there was like a horror trilogy anthology that she's part of,
Yep.
which spans different decades. Again, I've never experienced her, watched her in anything, so I don't have too much to say. I don't know if Milton, if you're familiar with her at all.
Not really.
So
The
there
only
we go.
Yeah, the only thing I'll throw in on that is, hey, if you know, look at all these actors you're listing off though, Chris. Like Gosling, that Flynn actor, Amy Adams, Matt Smith, Mia Goth, all these people, they all are. It's kind of reminding me of like the Skeleton Crew situation, where it's like you're getting all these talented people together on a show. Like for example, with her, like if Christopher Nolan's casting her in something, then she has to be a baseline good actress.
Yeah, really. That is good. That is good. Now, this next actor, I had to do a double take because I'm not familiar with Aaron Pierre, but he's actually going to be very familiar for a lot of us DC fans, Milton, because he's going to be, I believe, Jon Stewart in the upcoming
Yes.
Lantern series. So I was like, wait, what? We
Yeah.
got this guy playing Green Lantern. He's gonna be in Star Wars. It doesn't get better than that. That guy's like on both huge fandoms. So this guy's about his stardom is about to skyrocket with his fame.
I agree. I mean, I do know who he is. Like, obviously, what he's doing with lanterns and will do with lanterns. Excuse me. He looks like he belongs in Star Wars. I mean, that probably sounds weird, but like, I feel like he's got the look of a guy that can fit into obviously our human world, but also can be in the universe of Star Wars. He just had the look about him.
Hmm. Yeah. So he's in a couple things called Malcolm X. Wait, no, he's projects like Genius. He played Malcolm X. Another thing called The Underground Railroad, Brothers, and Rebel Ridge. So if those of you listening or watching have watched those, he was in that. Moving on to the next person. Now, these several actors I have no experience really with. We have Simon Bird, English comedian. So it's we got another comedian star. I feel like there was often at least like one comedian type of actor in Star Wars, like going back to L337 from the Solo of Star Wars, and then we have characters play like K2SO, just really good actors, but really funny actors as well. Alan Tudyk. But okay, so Simon
Right.
Bird was in The Inbetweeners, Friday Night Dinner, and Everyone Else Burns. Yeah, so there you go. We'll see what happens with this actor here. We also have Jamel Westman. Involved less projects than most of the other people mentioned above, but it doesn't mean he is less capable. He was landing a role in Hamilton in the Victoria Palace Theater. So he is a theater trained actor. So, and he's from, these English actors. I mean, it's these actors are trained to be comedians, or not comedians, chameleons, rather, because it's often where you see them doing such a good American accent, and then you see him in the behind the scenes, and then it's like, wait, that guy's British? That's crazy. Often that happens all the time. So I'm assuming this is going to be filmed in like Pinewood, which, it's in England. So you get a lot more
Right.
these actors available when it's right down the street practically for them. We also have Daniel Ings, multiple roles in TV shows and shorts. The Crown, very popular series. Instinct, The English Game, The Gentleman. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this actor at all.
No,
Nope.
I'm not. I have heard good things about the Crown show, but I haven't watched it.
Yeah. And just going over to the production team as well. Again, I'm looking off of an article called on a website called Volk.com. Very good breakdown and good, really useful information for going through all these different actors and production people. Sean Levy, if you aren't familiar with him, he directed Arrival, Deadpool and Wolverine, Stranger Things, Late at the Museum. So there you go. We all know who Ryan Johnson is. Cinematography is Oscar-winning cinematographer Claudio Miranda. Some of his work includes The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Top Gun Maverick, and F1. Oh crap! Top Gun Maverick is supposed to
Yep.
be. I've not seen it. I feel like I'm
Wait,
one of
you
the.
haven't seen that movie?
Yeah, exactly. The
Listen,
reaction. I was like, yeah, I haven't seen. I know people are gonna get
Oh,
angry with that.
hold on. Yeah, that's
bro,
hold on.
what are you
We got to
doing?
do a little aside on that, Chris. We got to like internet bully you into doing that because that movie, in my opinion, is mm, it's probably to me it's one of the I would say perfect movies of the past like 15 to 20 years. It's easy 10 out of 10. It's a
Damn.
perfect movie start to finish and yeah, you got to see that movie though. So that's really
Yeah,
encouraging
if
though that he's on this.
yeah, about to say if you like the first Top Gun, this keeps true to that nature, but brings it into a modern like day.
Yeah.
Well, you'd be probably even more disturbed to know I haven't watched the first one either. So,
Oh my
Dang.
God, bro! Oh, listen, are you?
We got to get you
Well,
cultured.
that's yeah. You need to get with the girlfriend and
Yep.
do a Top Gun marathon because that first one, bro, so good. The
Yep.
second one is really good, but like the first one is so pure. But
hmm.
again,
Yep.
that's another podcast for another day.
But that's
So
encouraging for the cinematography portions of it though,
Oh, for
Milton,
sure.
for X-Wings.
I was about to
yeah.
say because if they shoot it, well, even looking at from how they shot Top Gun in the '80s for just for that time period, that's very
Yep.
impressive. But what they did in Top Gun Maverick, it's like, oh, I feel like I'm actually in the cockpit
Oh,
with these
Yep.
guys going, 4G or whatever speed they're going, and they're actually flying these planes, and I feel like I'm feeling the force of this, and I feel like with Starfighter, you're going to get a lot of battles, you're going to get a lot of close-up shots of these guys in their element of fighting. It's going to feel like a Top Gun movie, I would hope, just with lasers, space, and huge explosions. Like, let's go.
it's interesting now that I'm thinking about it. Drawing the parallels to the Patty Jenkinson's movie, Patty Jenkins with the Rogue Squadron movie. So it's like it's kind of awkward, right? It's like I don't
Hmm.
think we ever talked about this yet on the podcast, but just the idea that
I
okay, we went
mean,
from like one Starfighter movie to
I
another.
never thought of that.
So are we ever going to get Rogue Squadron? Because that seems kind of like redundant at this point if they haven't released anytime in the next 10 years. Like, well, we already had a Starfighter movie, but it's taking place in this part of the timeline versus
right,
what's the
right.
different thing here? So it's like, huh? I
Well,
feel
here,
like they
I'll
got
answer the
Sean
question.
Levy's idea and was like, yeah, your idea is like way better. Let's just go with this one.
Well,
That's
I was about to say, here, I'll answer right now. We're not getting that movie from Patty Jenkins. Sorry, it is what it is. This is the replacement. And two, it's just like the whole Ryan Johnson trilogy. We're getting a different trilogy instead. Like that's not happening. I think Star
yep.
Wars and Disney, Lucasfilm realized, okay, that's the old regime. Let's take it to where we need to actually put it. And I think they probably did take some inspiration from Patty Jenkins' story or treatment and brought it to Starfighter with Sean Levy and what he's done. That's fine. Like we don't really need Rogue Squadron or whatever it's called. Honestly, like I think we're at a point to where this is where we need to take Star Wars.
Yep. For sure. It's definitely exciting to see them head in this direction. Um and to introduce that sort of potential like cinematography with things. Because that was the buzz around the Patty Jenkins movie back then was like, oh, is this going to be Top Gun Star Wars? Now we actually have the Top Gun person working on the Starfighter movie. So like
Right.
now it's like, oh man, this is going to be epic because they're going to get some crazy good shot like cockpit shots and overlay X-wing stuff, over like actual cockpits probably. So
Right.
I think this is a really promising sign for the cinematography, for the creative team. And I think one point, we all know who Sean Levy is, of course. But I think one point that has to be underscored with him so much is all of his projects. If you look at his film history and media history, at minimum, he's always produced something that's at least good or better. And it's kind of like a John Watts situation, when going into Skeleton Crew, people were like, "Oh, what is this? We don't have Mando, we don't have Grogu, whoever." But John Watts, like, you knew it was going to be at minimum good because he's excellent creative and had a good team around him. And this movie is no different. Like, Sean Levy is an excellent creative, has a really good team around him, and this movie at minimum is probably going to be good at baseline, I
Yeah.
would say.
Another
Mhm.
observation I will say is I found it very interesting that Ryan Gosling is actually executive producing on this because we've seen other instances of actors in Star Wars also being executive producers, but they've already had experience playing that character before. Case in point, Ewan McGregor played him obviously all through the prequels,
Yep.
and then I believe with the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, he was the executive producer. He already
Right.
played that character for years, knew decisions, knew what to do for that character, could actually like change lines and stuff because he had the power as an executive producer, I'm sure. Same thing with Diego Luna, Rogue One, he was just an actor. Then he had a lot of controls. We've seen a lot of behind the scenes stuff on Andor, especially Andor season 2. Get really into the character, being there with Tony Gilroy and all these interviews, really just going head to head with just answering the hard hitting questions and really surprising, I think, a lot of us with how much really good input he had with creating that series. So now we have Ryan Gosling, who, respectively hasn't been in Star Wars at all before, but he is getting that executive producing role right off the bat.
Right.
I can't imagine there was probably some bargaining going on. Like, okay, if I'm going to be in
Well,
Star
I'm sure
Wars,
that's
you gotta,
It's probably
you
talent
gotta
level.
give
Like,
me
hey,
talent level. Like he's that big of an
right.
actor. He's like, well, if you're going to get me,
Yeah.
I want the executive
he's
producer role as well.
he's
I'm about to
probably
say he's
saying,
not.
well,
No, go
Milton,
ahead, Ben.
like, yeah, Milton. He's I'll just say real quick, he's probably coming into this going like, no offense to most of your actors who've been in Star Wars, but I'm pretty much a bigger and more accomplished than 90% of the
Right.
people that have been involved with this franchise.
I'm about to say he's one of those actors that he doesn't really make bad movies. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure he has a couple duds here or there, but he's
Yeah.
well known. He's respected in Hollywood. Um, there is precedent for actors who are pretty well known to get an executive producer credit. Now, does that mean he's going to be making all decisions? No, I'm sure he has some influence in there. I'm sure there's something in the contract that says, hey, he can make decisions here, here, and here versus here, here, and here, which is fine. I mean, honestly, a lot of it's window dressing, in my opinion. At the end of the day, what it all comes down to is Sean and Ryan, who are leading the ship, tell us a great story, a theme through narrative, great shots, and take us to from an adventure that starts kind of low key to where we're thinking like, oh my god, can't wait to see this again, or I can't wait for the sequel.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So keep it locked here on the space on this YouTube channel, on this podcast, as we will be talking a lot more about this brand new Star Wars movie that'll be out in under 2 years. Under 2 years and under a year for the next Star Wars movie, Mandalorian Grogu. So I do want to save a little bit of time because this is pretty cool for the channel here and for the podcast. We have a super chat coming in from
Oh
Skyrim
Oh,
wow.
nice.
Clips, sending 5.99. I think that's euros, or is that pounds? I always get the two confused. But anyway, we really appreciate that. I don't ever promote that we have super chats enabled on YouTube videos, but hey, it's like a tip jar. Go ahead if you ever want to contribute to us. Appreciate it. But we will always answer your question at least at a certain point of the show. And at this point, we're going to segue into Skyrim Clips. Awesome question. This is a pretty cool one. This is up my alley because it has to do with the Old Republic a little bit. So there we go. Who you guys think is stronger, Vitiate or Palpatine? They
Oh
both
god,
the
this is definitely my
strongest
question.
of their time. George Lucas says Palpatine, but everybody thinks something else. I'll throw it over to Millen.
Let's go. Because y'all, listen, this is up my realm when it comes to legends and the books and everything. So we know what Palpatine becomes. You know, he's the Sith Eternal, all that jazz, whatever. Vitiate was different. I mean, looking at the game that he was in, some of the literature, to me, he's like the original Okay, I'll compare it to this way. Do you remember the movie Blade Trinity, Ben?
Yep, yep.
And do you remember whenever they talk about Drake or Dracula and how he was the first vampire and he had no weaknesses and blah blah blah? That to me is what Vitiate represents. Like he's like the first like Sith Emperor, Sith Eternal, whatever you want to call him. He was different, and for him to birth two Force sensitive twins who were pretty much balanced in a lot of ways, and how they built that empire, it's like, yeah, he was the guy. Um, and I feel like if I had to put those two guys against each other, as much as I love Uncle Palpy, Vitiate was him. Capital Him, him. Like I think how he represented himself in the sense of he wasn't flamboyant, he wasn't over the top, he knew exactly what he wanted. I mean, he literally had a force set sensitive twins plus a force daughter who eventually becomes like an imperial or a dark side user. It's like he had just a great control and a manipulation of what he wanted, and no one really challenged him. I forget how he eventually got wrecked, but I don't know, man. For that time of Star Wars in that era, he was the guy, and it's like it's hard for me to see Palpatine overthrow him because Palpatine literally got destroyed by Darth Vader. He threw him down the pit.
It's
Like he got old, threw him down the pit. Yes, he came back, but it's like Vitiate was just it was special. I just it's hard to argue that. I mean, if you really want to do a deep dive into those characters, see how powerful they were, see the pros and cons. I'm pretty sure Vitiate will be like, yeah, I'm him. Like he has something Palpatine desired. Palpatine wanted a son. He wanted a true legacy. He got that through his kids and what they were able to do.
see, that's such a tough question. Again, big thank you to our super chatter here. I think I think for me, it's so context dependent on when you're matching them up, though. Because you
Right,
got if you're matching them up like head to head, Vitiate with like pure power and such, like I think he wins on that alone. But then it's like the context of like, is this a situation though where Palpatine is kind of doing what he did in his character arc in the movies, where he's lurking in the shadows, slowly building up some secret plan to overthrow Vitiate, for example. Like,
right.
you could see Palpatine like taking a 20, 30 year scheme to like somehow take out his kids as leverage against him or something. So it's like it's context dependent, because it's like if it's a long-term thing, I think you have Palpatine winning. Some like he'd find
I agree with that. I
some
agree with that.
creative way, but if it's like a straight up just battle royale,
Mm.
then Palpatine's not winning that match. So I think
Okay, here
it's
you go.
I
Here,
think it's
here,
kind
here you
of
go, Ben.
context.
Ben, here we go. Sports analogy. Palpatine is Floyd Mayweather, methodical,
Yep.
defensive, sits in the shadow. Vitiate is Mike Tyson in the 80s and early 90s. He's a
Yep.
bruiser. He comes out, he puts it on you quick, he don't play around. Like you
Yep.
literally walk in, you are, oh my God, can I go 3 minutes with this guy? Hell, go
And
30
if
seconds.
Floyd would try to play like that, he'd be taken out.
Yeah. And I think Palpatine knew that. Palpatine
Yep.
knows my strength isn't attacking head on. I'm more lurking, defensive, lurking in the shadows, being smart and meticulous with my growing my power, growing my defense, like strengthening my deficiencies or my weaknesses, or long term, I don't have to worry about, which is what he did with being immortal pretty much by learning how to manipulate the force to transfer his consciousness into his clones. Bichette didn't do that. He legit died and was done. He didn't think long term. So I think where we go, I think a boxer who's defensive, who knows how to lurk, and then time it up to where he's going to knock you out for the full 10-second count, great. Vicious definitely Tyson in 88, 89. He's
Yeah.
knocking you out in 1 or 2 rounds, but he's burning out quicker. He can't go 15 rounds.
Yep. Excellent analogy there.
Yeah, see, we make the relation between the sports and Star Wars. Who would ever think? Who would ever think?
Yeah,
But
right.
yeah, I have a good experience with this question because I have sunk many, many hours into Star Wars: The Old Republic, in which Vitiate is the main baddie in that one, and it's been a while since I've started like a character played all the way through, so I'm a little bit hazy on the details. But what I will say is he's very much intrinsic in the Jedi Knight storyline. There's like
Right.
8 different character classes you play: Jedi Counselor, Jedi Knight, Smuggler, Bounty Hunters, all those guys. But he is overall in the overarching story, head of the Sith and all that sort of thing, of course. But yeah, it's interesting because Milton, you kind of hit the nail on the head with this one, saying like he basically did everything that Palpatine tried to do, but was unsuccessful to do. For instance, you were just
Yes.
mentioning about like having to clone his body to be immortal. Vitiate just straight up like it was this huge shocking point. I mean, this is a spoiler for a game that's like 10 years old at this point. With
Yeah.
Knights of the Eternal Throne, which is
Yep.
a story in which all of a sudden there's this newer character and he has 2 twins. And you actually don't know it's Vitiate at the time. But eventually you find out that it's like actually Vitiate in this different younger body. And it's like, holy crap, because then he has Senya, which is his wife, that has the twins. And then he's got Valen, which is the daughter, as Milton was talking about,
Daughter.
the Empress. And it's pretty awesome. Like he shuts down the galaxy. Like literally for I think it's like 2 to 5 years, the galaxy is just under his fist. Like this character.
Yep.
And then I'm also murky on how he gets defeated. But basically, at the end of this one storyline, you get to fight like the 3 different versions of Vitiate. It's the original form, then it's the older form, I forget his name, and then it's like the other form of Vitiate. So, I mean, he took on like at that fight, he's taking on like 8 super powerful characters at the same time, and that's the only way he
Right.
gets defeated. It's like it's an unfair fight. Like he has to. It's like takes 8 of us to take one of him down. So he's going against
Yeah.
like Satil Shan and me as
Great,
a
great character.
crazy commander, all these different characters. It's like, yeah, this guy was definitely more powerful than Palpatine in my eyes.
Yeah, right. And I agree. But I think long term, Palpatine, he did it better. Like he long term did it better in
For
a
like,
sense of what he wanted to accomplish. I mean,
yeah,
he did it for 20. Well, Palpatine, seriously though, people think his reign lasted for 19, 20 years. Truly, he's been doing it for 40 years because he had to
Yep.
build up from when he killed, spoilers, killed Plagueis. So you have all that 10 plus years time of him being in control as Chancellor. Then 20 years later, when he takes over as the Emperor, like that's a 30-year like reign of manipulation. But he also was preparing for his contingency. If something would happen to me, I will still be around eventually as I get prepared for that. So I mean, Palpatine, low key, I think if you had to pick, he's the guy I guess would win. But I sent you guys these videos of that Star Wars or Skywalker Stories guy who makes the
That
AI videos.
that's like the best account. I love that account so much.
Yeah, right. They do 2 scenes with Vitiate and Palpatine talking to each other.
whoa,
Watch those. Because
Yep.
then you're gonna be like, wait a minute, like you're going to see how petty they probably are if they actually met, and how they would say like, these are your shortcomings, I've done it here. These are your shortcomings, I've done it better here. When realistically, I mean, they both probably should have learned from one another to figure out, okay, this is where I could be my downfall. I need to do it better here. But no, I really think that's a great question. Whoever sent that to us.
yeah. That
Excellent.
was
Excellent question.
Skyrim clips. Been very active in the chat all night. Very very excited. He said he's going to actually meet Hayden Christensen in 2 months.
I met him. I met him back in April.
There you go. There you go. I walked by him. I was 10 feet away from Hayden saying hi.
Nice.
And he didn't even look.
Hey,
I was just like, okay.
I invited Hayden to my wedding, bro. Like, listen, I told my wife, I said, I would probably move a couple people off the list just to make Hayden work for him. Like I'd make it work for Hayden.
Yep. That's great.
Oh man, I think that's as good a place as any to end it for this week on the podcast. I want to thank you guys for joining me. Thanks to Skyrim Clips for joining us, and everybody else can join us as well. We'll be off again next week. I'll be away, but we'll be back the following week, which is going to be Sunday, September 14th. So you join us then as we have more banter and talk in the galaxy far, far away. I'll throw it over to Milton. What are you going to be up to? Where can the people follow you? I know we got some very important sports stuff coming up very soon here.
Yes, sir. NFL starts this week. Can't wait. And if the Eagles open up on Thursday against the Cowboys, whatever, they're trash. We're going to repeat as Super Bowl champions. You heard it first. Let's go. And I'm going to watch Miami versus Notre Dame once we're done on the podcast tonight. But find me on Instagram at Milton7Weber or on X at MiltonWeber7. Hit me up. We'll talk sports. We'll talk Star Wars. We'll talk life. It's all good. I appreciate was it Skyrim Clips, the gentleman who hit us up tonight.
Yep.
Great question. Please share it with your friends. Please share it with your family. We love interacting with the people that listen to us, that follow us, that talk to us. We really enjoy those conversations. So thank you for being part of the show.
There you go. What about you, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a busy week. So I'm, like I mentioned at the top, I'm moving. So it's going to be nice. And you guys will see me at a new location for the next podcast episode. So you can find me talking about that at Real Ben Maynard on X and Instagram. And if it's not moving stuff, it's Star Wars or fitness or the NFL. Like Milton said, it's almost football season. And yeah, I'm ready for it.
Yeah, and you can catch me right here on youtube.com/StarRaptor. I have been following the DC universe lately. I have a review for Peacemaker episode 1 of season 2. If you want to follow me on Twitter or X, I'm also at StarRaptor. Been posting a lot of skateboarding clips. I've been just posting about games I've completed. Recently beat Super Mario 64. I've been doing some retro gaming this summer, so it's always a fun time. But yes, until next time, for Milton, for Ben, for Chris, aka Startup, that's going to do it for Outer Rim Transmission. This was episode 206. Thanks for watching, everybody, and thanks for listening. Until next time, may the Force be with you always, in transmission.